How's it going, everyone? Right now, I am actually very close to home. I'm only about 30 minutes outside of the city of Atlanta, where I live. And you know how sometimes when you've lived in a place for a while and you kind of forget to be a tourist in your own backyard, you're always thinking about other places you can go, other places to go and photograph. And at least I know I get into that frame of mind sometimes. And there's a place just outside of Atlanta. It's about 30 minutes outside of town. It's called Arabia Mountain. And to be honest, it's not much of a mountain. I mean, it's really just more of a hill than anything. But anyway, the reason why I came out here, partially because I wanted to scout it and maybe do some photography while I'm here. I brought my gear just in case. But also because I've been thinking about a recent review that I put out about the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens for EFM mount cameras. You can get it for Sony E-mount and Micro Four Thirds as well, but I reviewed it in the context of EFM using my Canon M50, which is the camera I'm filming on right now. But there's something I didn't talk about in that review that I wish in retrospect that I had talked about, but it's just something at the time, I guess I just didn't think about it. And it wasn't until I went to Death Valley and I started really using the Sigma 16mm lens. I mean, I was using it every day. I was out vlogging with it, doing handheld vlogging like this. And the thing that I began to notice, and the more that I thought about it, and afterwards, especially when I was looking at the footage that I recorded, was the fact that there was a real and noticeable difference between the footage that I was recording using the 16mm Sigma and the footage that I was recording using the Canon 11-22. It's just a very different viewing experience when it comes to vlogging, when it comes to how this looks right here, how much you're able to see around me, behind me, how much of me is filling this frame right now. Am I really close to the camera in this one? Does it feel uncomfortable? Do you get a sense of where you are? Because I notice when, I look in the flip out screen over here, I notice the difference. And I mean, right now, this is my arm extended all the way out. And I'm like 6'4", so I have unusually, above average length of arm when it comes to how far I'm able to get a camera out. I would guess probably at least, probably a few inches more than the average person. But this is my arm totally straight. That's too much. This is much more comfortable. But the fact of the matter is that when I look in this screen over here, and when I look at footage that I've recorded and I look at it later when I'm editing it, there is a difference, right? I mean, there's a difference between the experience of watching this clip compared to this, I mean, what about this footage here? How does that look? Do you see any difference? Do you notice it? Well, in case you don't know, and in case you haven't figured it out, I'm not scaling the video clip. I'm not zooming it or doing anything in post. What I'm doing is I am changing the lens. I'm changing the focal length, and I'm changing it from the Sigma 16mm to the Canon 11-22, my old lens. And I'm really interested in this because I've noticed in the footage that I've been recording that there is a pretty big difference between, say, like 12mm on the Canon variable zoom compared to 16mm on this lens. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the Sigma 16mm is fantastic low light performer, awesome lens, great image quality. I love it. But the thing that I noticed though is that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I kind of prefer the feeling, especially when I'm vlogging and doing work like this, the feeling of a wider focal length, something like 12 or 11 millimeters compared to 16. 16 just feels like, like I'm right up here in the camera. And you don't just see as much of this around you. I'm interested to know because obviously I'm going to be making more videos in the future, and I would like to know which lens is the better pick, you know, which one I should be using, because I have to say that now that I'm kind of looking at this 11-22 again, there is something to be said for it, right? Especially if the light is okay and, you know, I don't have any issues with low light and I need that larger aperture, this may not be a bad choice. So that's it for me. I just wanted to put up this quick video and put this out there as a follow-up to that review of the Sigma 16mm, in case you've been thinking about getting a vlogging lens for an EFM mount camera like the Canon M50 and are trying to decide what to get. Because I think you could actually make the case that both lenses are very useful, and that even though that Sigma has better low light performance, I think this Canon 11-22, there's something to be said for it. So at any rate, that's it for me this week. I'll see you next time.